back in WA and in fact Tasmania, and that will be Neil Marston giving us the story of Flynn Gold. Please welcome Neil, the CEO and Managing Director.
So the Flynn Gold story, in the time I've got today to talk to you, I'm going to just run through our major flagship project, which is chasing gold in northeast Tasmania, and particularly the Golden Ridge project. So just as background, Flynn Gold was listed in June 2021. We have projects predominantly in Tasmania, but also since the company's listed, we've acquired a large portfolio of ground in Western Australia, and the focus of that ground has been on lithium. In the time today, I won't actually talk about our West Australian assets. I'll really just talk about, as I said, the northeast Tasmanian story with a focus on Golden Ridge. And our aim really is to take these projects, which we think are a great opportunity, and advance them through to a production story. So in northeast Tasmania, well, before we do that, just a corporate snapshot for you. We've got on the board our chairman's Clive Duncan. He's spent most of his career working for Bunnings Group, so this is a new experience for him, but he provides a wealth of experience for us. There's myself, Sam Garrett, who many of you may know. He's on the board of a number of other companies and a very well-known geologist. He's our technical director. And our third director is John Ford, who's sitting here in the room with us. John is with Lau Resources Fund. You'll see our major shareholders. We've got Lau sitting at 4.6% investment in the company, and we're really appreciative of their investment. They've been here since the very beginning. Colin Burke, who's our major shareholder, he's invested in a number of other companies as well, very supportive, has continued to provide funding for us over the last couple of capital raisings. And of course, you can see the directors and myself, we're holding a decent slice of the company. So we're all very well invested in the business. Our number of shares on issue is 164 odd million at the moment. Our enterprise value as of today is about 6.5 million. So, and we've got about 1.6, 1.7 in the bank at the moment. So the company's ready to start our next phase of exploration. And so the reason people ask us of why we're exploring in Tasmania, it's quite a simple answer. You know, the eastern part of northeastern part of Tasmania is very much an extension of the mainland Australia as far as geology is concerned. So we're looking at an extension of the Victorian goldfields into Tasmania, and quite surprisingly, whilst we've seen exploration activities in Tasmania, in Victoria over the last few years increase because of discoveries like the Swan Zone at Kirkland Lake. And more recently, we're seeing excellent discoveries and results from Southern Cross Gold and what they're doing at Sunday Creek. But there hasn't been a lot of exploration for hard rock gold in northeast Tasmania. But it's got a history of production there. You can see Beaconsfield. That was the first big mine opened in Tasmania in 1877. They started mining that. And back at the turn of the century, that was the biggest dewatering operation in the world was occurring at Beaconsfield in that mine, pumping the Tamar River basically out of the mine. But they pulled out over 800,000 ounces of gold at about 26 grams. And then they reopened that mine more recently up until 2012. There's a processing plant still sitting there with tailings capacity, which may be an opportunity for us in the future to access from what we're doing. And then closer to us, a place called Mathena, New Golden Gate. That was mined about 100 years ago. That mine shut down, and they too were pulling out gold at about 26 grams per tonne. That mine was mined down to about 500 metres depth, and they were mining veins anywhere from about a foot wide through to 7 metres wide. And that was really the only hard rock mine in the northeast which actually went as deep as 500 metres. So surprisingly, the northeast of Tasmania has been left dormant. Most of the mining that occurred there was around the tin operations, and gold was ancillary and a little bit tougher. So all the miners focused on the tin. So the opportunity for us now is to go and explore this area. We've got a large land holding, and we've had some success on what we've been doing to date. And just commenting on Tasmania as a jurisdiction, it really is quite a friendly environment to be working on. Unlike some of the mainland states where the regulatory hoops are tying everyone up in knots, we can get onto the ground and do work. We're drilling in state forestry areas predominantly, so getting permitting and access and approval to go and do work it takes days and weeks rather than months or years. So it's a very good area to be working in. This map just shows you the northeast in more detail. You can see on that map there's two areas which have been sort of highlighted, Golden Ridge and Warrantina. So Golden Ridge is, we think it's an intrusive related gold system, whereas Warrantina is part of a northern, a sort of golden corridor which stretches from Mangana at the south all the way up to the coast. That corridor is about 80 kilometres long, and Mangana was the first place gold was discovered in Tasmania. So that's very much a Victorian orogenic gold system. And we've just acquired that only a few months ago, so we've just started work on that. So as I said, Golden Ridge, intrusive related. We like to think it's a little bit like Red 5's King of the Hills project, where they've got a big granitoid that they're exploring. We've got a granite which has got about, excuse me, about 8 kilometres of contact through here. There's historical workings at a number of these locations. The main shafts in the area are at Trafalgar and at Brilliant. We don't have any real production details on what came out of the mines, but certainly at Trafalgar, the one record that does keep popping up is there was a parcel of 46 tonnes of ore taken to Ballarat for processing, and they pulled out 4 ounces of gold and 4 ounces of silver per tonne from that 46 tonnes. So that's 120, 130 grams per tonne type ore that they were trucking. They moved over to Ballarat back in the 1800s. So apart from that, we don't know much about the production. We do know that the shaft at Ballarat at Trafalgar, goes down 60 metres, and we've mapped the workings in 3D in our models, and it seems to be lining up with what we're seeing in our drilling. So since we listed, we've done drilling at Brilliant. We've done 14 holes there, which was on top of about a dozen holes that were already drilled by BHP a while ago. There was one diamond hole drilled at Trafalgar, which had some very encouraging signs, so we've drilled 14 holes there as well. And we've also done some regional scout drilling across the contact there, a dozen RC holes. And the RC holes are these green dots you can see through here. And they've shown up some mineralisation, which in the next slide I'll show you. This is a oblique view, so that's looking towards the southwest. So you can see on these red blobs are our computer-generated mineralisation shells from a program called Leapfrog. So you can see the Trafalgar mineralisation and the Brilliant mineralisation. These are RC holes I mentioned, some of these little blobs here. Pretty good numbers, 33 grams at 33 metres at half a gram gold in a scout drill hole. It's a pretty good hit for drilling under a rock chip sample or a little bit of quartz veining. So we've got very good signs that we've got lots of mineralisation in the system. This bluey sort of layer over the top shows soil anomalies. So the red blobs here and there are right on top of those two workings, but you can see all these red blobs through here as well. And we've done a little bit more work since this was generated, and we're seeing more red blobs showing up on our soil sampling. So there's lots of targets for us to test there. As I said, this is an 8-kilometre system, but this is just the first 4 kilometres of the contact. And so the results at Trafalgar are really starting to get ourselves excited. We've got 15 diamond holes drilled into the deposit now, and their best intervals are 12 metres at 16.8, which includes 0.7 of a metre at 150 odd, and also that 4 metres at 23.47, which was drilled at 23 metres down hole. If I move to the next slide and show you. So this is hot off the press. This is our latest vein model system. So what we're seeing is multiple veins running through there. This is what we call our main Trafalgar vein. There's another one called Magazine, and then T2, I think, which is this one here. But yeah, this whole up in the northeast side here, which hit the 4 metres at 23.7. That was drilled, it was a step back hole from the hole number 11. This was hole 13. Hole 11 hit an adit at about 11 metres depth, which no one knew about until we hit it. And so we just stepped back behind it to see what the adit was testing, and we found within that our best result, which was 0.5 metre at 170 grams per tonne gold. So there's obviously very good signs for us, some obvious targets for us to go and drill test in the next drilling program, and that's certainly what we'll be looking to do. But you can see there's 15 holes there, and of those, 5 of those holes have hit vein systems of over 100 grams per tonne. And the first hole which was drilled, which was the guide to us to go and test this, was this hole here, which had 0.4 at 150. So we drilled a hole from the top of the hill, scissoring that hole, and the intersection we got was similar grade, 0.4 at 138, and that was 75 metres vertically below where the earlier hole had intersected it. So we've got good hits at 25 metres, at 108 metres, 200 metres. This one here is at 57 metres, and then we've got this one down here at 354 metres down hole. So we're seeing consistent sort of grades in these widths of these veins over a number of vein sets. So we're quite excited about the success rate we've had to date, and the opportunity for us obviously is not to get 5 from 15, but is to have 10 from 20 intersections with those sorts of numbers. And when you've got those sorts of numbers, it's a bit like the Henty Gold mine over in the West Coast. That mine opened in 1996 with 500,000 tonnes at 26 grams per tonne as their mine reserve. That mine's still been going for now 28 years. They've produced not 400,000 ounces of gold, but 1.4 million ounces of gold, and that mine's running today. So these sorts of deposits, once you get onto them and you start finding these high-grade vein sets, lots of ounces can get generated very quickly in a resource. And some of the richest mines in Australia, like Costerfield, they're not processing millions of tonnes of ore, they're processing tens or hundreds of thousands and are making very good money. And we think that's the opportunity for ourselves at Golden Ridge. There's some nice photos of the ore, the core, which has got some good numbers in there. You can see this is the granite hosted mineralisation, so there's granite there and there. This is the vein, which is a quartz rich vein. The little blue circles of visible gold. And up here, this is in the sediments. Now, one thing I didn't mention earlier is we've done some metallurgical test works, because there's always this risk about high-grade gold things, nuggety gold, won't be able to unlock it. We've got 94.5% gold recovery from initial test work we've done, and that's on samples ranging from 0.1 to 170 grams per tonne. So just to wrap up, that photo just shows you the Golden Ridge area. There's logging being done here. There's plantation timber through here all the way up to Trafalgar, which is over there. So yeah, it's a fairly remote area. As I said, it's forestry reserve, so we've got plenty of access to an area which is not disturbing anyone really, and hopefully we'll be able to turn that into a gold mine in the not too distant future. So our focus over the next few months will be drilling Trafalgar and really trying to advance that so we can get this thing moving into the future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.